Imagine you wake up one morning. The ground beneath your feet is wet. You look to the horizon and the sea is coming toward you. Not slowly, fast. You have no car, no phone, no warning system. Just your legs and the sound of an entire ocean swallowing the world behind you. This didn't happen in a movie. Scientists now believe this happened to real people 7,600 years ago. And here's the part that will stop you cold. The Bible described it first. Here's what most people don't know. 7,000 years ago, the Black Sea didn't look like it does today. It was a lake, a freshwater lake, smaller, calmer, surrounded by one of the most fertile plains on Earth. Thousands of early humans lived there. They farmed, they built shelters, they raised children. Life was good. Then the Ice Age ended. Glaciers across the world began to melt. Ocean levels rose. The Mediterranean Sea kept swelling, pushing water higher and higher toward a thin strip of rock separating it from the lower freshwater lake to the northeast. That strip of rock sat where the Bosphorus Strait is today in modern Turkey. For thousands of years, it held. Then around 5600 BC, it didn't. Two geologists from Columbia University, William Ryan and Walter Pittman, calculated what happened next when that rock barrier broke. Salt water from the Mediterranean blasted through with the force of 200 Niagara Falls. The entire plain, an area the size of Florida, vanished beneath the water in a matter of months. The people living there had almost no time to run. Ryan and Pittman called their book Noah's Flood. Now here's where it gets wild. In the year 2000, Robert Ballard sent underwater cameras to the floor of the Black Sea. You know Robert Ballard. He's the man who found the Titanic. And at 300 feet below the surface, he found something nobody expected. An ancient shoreline, perfectly preserved, freshwater snail shells, over 7,000 years old, and wooden structures, human-built, still sitting on the bottom of the sea. A drowned world, frozen in time. But that's not the strangest part. His team examined the sediment layers at the seafloor and found a sharp line. Below the line, freshwater organisms. Above the line, saltwater organisms. A clean, sudden cut. Not gradual, not slow climate change. Something violent, something fast. Then the genetic data came in. Studies of ancient DNA from populations surrounding the Black Sea showed a sudden dispersal event right around 5600 BC. Groups of people moving rapidly outward in all directions, as if they were all running from the same thing. Flood myths appear in ancient Mesopotamia, ancient China, ancient India, ancient Mayan civilization, independent cultures, no contact with each other, all carrying the same story about a great flood that destroyed the world. All the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened. Read that again slowly. Not, it rained a lot. Not, a river overflowed. Two separate events at the same time. Water bursting up from underground and water falling from above. Here's why that detail matters. When the Mediterranean barrier broke, billions of tons of water pressure pushed through cracks across the entire region, forcing water up through underground aquifers. Springs erupted from the ground. People living on that plain wouldn't just have seen the sea rushing toward them from the horizon. They would have watched water explode from the earth beneath their feet. Genesis also places Noah's story in Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, directly east of the Black Sea basin. The geography matches, the timeline matches, the description of the water sources matches, in a way that would be nearly impossible to fabricate without someone who was actually there. Does this prove Genesis is literally true in every detail? That's not for science to decide. But here's what science has decided. A catastrophic flood happened here. Real people survived it, and they never forgot. Now, to be fair, not every scientist agrees on the details. Some argue the flood was more gradual, a slow rise over decades, not months. If that's true, it's still catastrophic, just not quite as sudden as Genesis describes. Others point out that the Epic of Gilgamesh, a Mesopotamian text written centuries before Genesis, contains a nearly identical flood story. Did Genesis borrow from Gilgamesh? Did both draw from the same shared memory? Was there one event or many smaller ones that merged into a single story over thousands of years of retelling? These are real debates. Real scientists disagree. And there's the big one. Genesis says the flood covered the entire Earth. The Black Sea event was regional. But here's what I want you to think about if you were standing on that plane, watching the horizon disappear underwater, watching the ground crack and shoot water into the air, watching your entire world vanish. Would you describe it as regional? Here's what we know. 7,000 years ago, a real flood destroyed a real civilization in the Black Sea region. Real people ran from it. And then they told their children. Who told their children? Who told their children? For 7,000 years, the story survived. Through Mesopotamia, through Babylon, through the Hebrew scriptures, through every culture it touched on the way. Did science prove Noah's flood? Not completely. Science rarely works that way. But science proved this. The memory of a world-ending flood is not mythology, it's memory. Next week we ask, where exactly was the Garden of Eden and what did satellite imagery discover buried beneath the Persian Gulf? If that sounds like something you need to know, subscribe, it's free, and I'll see you there.